Hi, everybody. Today we have a book called Truman's Ant Farm, and it's spelled like this: ant, like an auntie, like an aunt and uncle, not like an ant outside, or that you might have in a little cage for an ant farm, which are pretty cool. This is written by Jama Kim Ratigan and illustrated by G. Brian Karras. At 11 o'clock, a package arrived for Truman. It was a birthday present from his Aunt Fran. Truman looked at the box. It was not moving. He gently picked it up. It felt empty. He turned it over, then smelled it. Presents from Aunt Fran had to be handled very carefully. So he must have gotten other packages from Aunt Fran before. Truman slowly opened the box. It was empty. No, there were two cards. The yellow one said, "Happy birthday, dear Truman. I'm giving you the ant farm you wanted." And that one is spelled like an ant, like an insect. Love, your charming Aunt Fran. The green one said, "Mail this card right away to receive your free ants. Watch them work, watch them play, watch them eat. Live ants." Truman mailed his card right away. Oh boy, live ants? Live ants for his very own. I'm curious if any of you have an ant farm. But he didn't get ants. He got ants. So he didn't get ants, little insects. He got ants. Like an aunt and uncle. It was true. There were ants everywhere. They all loved Truman and made such a fuss. "My, how you've grown," said Aunt Lulu. "Isn't he handsome?" said Aunt Jody. "Looks just like me," said Aunt Ramona. And they hugged him and patted his head and pinched his cheeks and talked his ears off. Dear charming Aunt Fran, thank you for the birthday present. I have 50-something ants in my house now, more arriving daily. What shall I do? Love, your bug-loving nephew, Truman. What should I feed the ants? Oh dear. Truman looked out his front window. A long, long line of ants was waiting to get in. They brought their knitting and homemade banana bread and gave Truman more than 100-something gift subscriptions to children's magazines. "Help!" yelled Truman. "Letter for you," said the postman. Dear Truman, I am glad you like the present. Don't let those ants bug you. Do you have any friends who would like some ants? Love, your clever Aunt Fran. Feed the ants ant food. Since they were his ants, he wanted them to be good ants. But what was the best ant food? Not coffee. The ants stayed up all night. Not alphabet soup. The ants talked too much. Certainly not chocolate. The ants kissed him all the time. So Truman fed them rice pudding for breakfast, jelly sandwiches for lunch, and little hot dogs for supper. Every morning, all the ants lined up for inspection. Truman walked up and down the ranks. He looked over each ant from head to toe. They were ready to go to work. And then there's a daily schedule. It says, morning, 9 o'clock tickle practice, 10 o'clock headstands, 10:30 roller skating, 11 o'clock a hug relay. Afternoon, 1 o'clock stories, 2 o'clock nap, 3 o'clock listening, and 5 o'clock tiptoeing. The ants got water and sun and fresh air. They blew bubbles, flew kites, and found birds' nests. Aunt Amy could do backflips with her eyes closed. Pretty talented. The ants were strong and happy. They were charming and clever. They slept, played, sang, danced, and talked just enough. Dear clever Aunt Fran, I have around 200-something ants now. I love them all. More ants keep coming and coming. They are the best in the world. Love, your ant-loving nephew, Truman. Looks like they're having a good time. Look at the one with the soccer ball. Yes, they were very good ants, but they weren't really his ants, and he was running out of room. Could he give them away? Who might want them? Truman put up a sign. Truman's Ant Farm. Live ants. Watch them work, watch them play, watch them eat. Free to good homes. Truman looked out his front window. A long, long line of boys and girls was waiting to get in. I want a funny ant, said one girl. One who knows lots of jokes and stories. I want my aunt to do cartwheels, said a little boy, and not cry if she falls down and gets dirty. Make mine lumpy and soft, a good cuddler, said another boy. Truman let all the boys and girls in. They looked over the ants from head to toe. They watched the ants work and play. They watched the ants eat. The ants could tickle, tell stories, do headstands, and roller skate. When the children talked, the ants really listened. They didn't pat heads, pinch cheeks, or talk ears off, but they still hugged. Soon each child found just the right ant. Goodbye, dear Truman, called the ants. Thank you for a tip-top time. Truman was sad to see the ants go. He watched them tiptoe away. He was glad those boys and girls got their own ants, but something was missing. At 11 o'clock the next day, another package arrived. Truman looked at the box. It was moving. He tried to pick it up. It was too heavy. He smelled it. It smelled like roses. Carefully, he opened the lid. Out jumped Aunt Fran. Surprise! She gave Truman a big hug. But where are your ants? She said. I wanted to see them. Oh, Aunt Fran, the ants are gone. They have their own nieces and nephews now. Aunt Fran put her arm around Truman. He saw the twinkle in her eye. You did a wonderful thing, said Aunt Fran. Let's celebrate your birthday. Truman and his very own Aunt Fran shared a special day. They had rice pudding for breakfast, jelly sandwiches for lunch, and little hot dogs for supper. They even had a tickle contest, but they were too full to do headstands. The end. I hope you all have good ants. I'm an aunt now. Well, I should have said I'm a great aunt now, which is fun. And 2 more babies are coming very soon. And I've been an aunt for a long time. And I try to be the best aunt I can be. And my children had very good aunts. And I think if you're an aunt and you're listening, you have a great opportunity to be a great aunt, like Aunt Fran. Hope you enjoyed the book.